Hi everybody, welcome back. So we will be starting with climate patterns, weather patterns in our Earth system. To start with NAM or Arctic Oscillation, which represent the same thing. Arctic Oscillation or NAM. Now, abbreviation for NAM is Northern Annular Mode, where annular stand for ring-shaped pattern. These NAM form. What are these NAM actually? These are nothing but just the wind patterns. Okay, in northern hemisphere near Arctic. Now these NAM are actually the westerly winds coming from west, and when there is a temperature contrast between the tropics and northern hemisphere, these NAM, these wind patterns, these westerly winds are influenced. And how they are influenced? They experience sort of temperature difference. Now when there is high temperature in tropics, more high or comparatively higher than normal temperature in tropics, it sort of the air there expands. When air expands and it moves toward the northern hemisphere of our globe, of our Earth, it gives sort of buoyancy force to the winds coming here. Okay. Now, when these winds get buoyant force from the waves, heat waves coming from the tropics, they get uplifted. Okay, this is called positive NAM. During positive NAM phase, the winds are quite strong and they form ringed pattern in the northern hemisphere of our globe. These are mainly surrounding the northern hemisphere and do not spill down. These also helps in inhibiting Arctic breakdown. However, there are conditions when NAM are not very strong or the wind gusts are not very strong, and this happens when there is less temperature contrast between tropics and northern hemisphere. Now imagine westerly winds coming, and if there is less temperature difference, it won't experience much buoyancy and it will start spilling toward tropics. When it starts spilling toward tropic, we call it to be in negative phase. And why is this happening? The cause of this is temperature contrast between tropics and northern hemisphere. During negative phase of NAM, the westerly winds drop down than their normal position. Also, it's worthwhile noting that stratosphere is comparative. It is warmer during negative phase and it is colder during positive phase of NAM. Again, what is the importance of stratosphere here? Because stratosphere is much higher above troposphere. Imagine a balloon and it is at some room temperature. After a while, you start heating the gas inside from some inside source. Okay. Now, when gas inside the balloon start getting heated up, the molecules of gases get kinetic energy because of the heat from the source, and it start moving rapidly. Because of that motion, the balloon will start expanding. Right? In the same manner, imagine stratosphere to be like a balloon and air enveloped in the stratospheric layer. Well, it's not exactly like a balloon, but to good approximation, you can think like that. So, imagine when there is high temperature in stratosphere, which could be because of higher absorption of ultraviolet rays in stratosphere because of ozone molecules present in it. Let's say it is expanding now. When it expands, the region, the layer below it would start to compress down. When it expands, the layer below compress down. And when this happens, the positive NAM is depressed or negative phase of NAM starts, which means the westerly wind show downfall. But if there is higher buoyancy from down, they are lifted up. But if there is not much of contrast, not much of temperature contrast between the two, it dips down and the wind patterns start to spill down toward the tropics. Alright, So this is about positive and negative phase of NAM and their association with stratosphere. One of the things that is not very clear, but I think I can guess, is that stratosphere and troposphere has connection. When there is high temperature in the stratosphere, we have seen that it influences NAM by spilling it down, by pushing it down, which also means that during negative phase of NAM or during expansion of stratosphere, the energy coming from the sun is absorbed more in stratosphere, and since it is absorbed more in stratosphere, less amount reaches down to the earth's surface, which means the temperature contrast between tropics and northern hemisphere is lesser. So there is definitely a connection between the stratosphere, stratospheric heating, and tropospheric heating. Imagine we have a cloud layer which is inhibiting solar radiations, which is stopping the sun rays coming from top. Now, few of the bands of the spectra which cannot be absorbed, which do not have vibrational frequency good enough to get absorbed by these cloud particles, cloud molecules, they get trapped inside. They can come down to the earth, and those whose frequency, whose energy matches the vibrational energy of the molecules in the cloud, they are trapped inside. So whatever is coming down is what is not trapped by the clouds. In the same way, consider this layer of stratosphere when it is heated up, when it is absorbing more solar radiation, or to be more specific, UV radiation, because of the ozone particles, ozone molecules present in it, it is getting more heated up. So lesser UV will reach on the ground or on the earth. Lesser the amount of lesser the amount of energy reaching the earth's surface, lesser would be the temperature contrast between the northern hemisphere and tropics, and which would actually lead to the formation of NAM during its positive or its negative phase. Okay, to collect all of the information together, let's concisely discuss what is NAM or AO. NAM is nothing but it is measured as wind speed. It has a time of oscillation of about ranging from weeks to months. Okay, and it happens because of the temperature contrast between tropics and northern hemisphere. It has two phases, positive and negative. During positive phase of NAM, stratosphere has lower temperature, or it is cooler than normal. During negative phase of NAM, stratosphere is at higher temperature, or it is warmer than normal. And inverse is true for the condition that the temperature difference between tropics and the northern hemisphere. So this is all about NAM, and we will be back with another topics, another weather pattern. Bye then.